Fanny, what's your opinion of Miss Crawford?
She has every virtue, a fortune and a pretty face.
She does. And?
I've got a stone in my shoe. Ooh. But Edmund, does she truly hate to pray? Does she really believe everything can be got with money?
I think Miss Crawford talks to amuse rather than anything else. And Fanny, are you riding tomorrow?
Yeah.
Then I'll have the mare saddled up half an hour early. Miss Crawford wants to learn, and Jenny is much our quietest horse. You won't be inconvenienced. I'll make sure we're no more than half an hour.
So you are to be a clergyman?
I am, yes.
I'm surprised. Come, do change your mind. You really are fit for something better. It's not too late. You could go into the law.
Go into the law with as much ease as I might go for a ride.
Well, usually there's an uncle or a grandfather to leave a fortune to the second son.
An admirable practice, but I'm an exception and must shift for myself. Besides, even with a fortune, I would make the same choice.
But men like to distinguish themselves, don't they? You might be a soldier or a sailor.
I might, but I am not. You're a natural rider, Miss Crawford.
Well, I have a very good teacher.
Fanny, we're late. I'm so sorry.
Really, it's of no importance.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I do apologize. Your cousin and I had so much to talk about, we quite forgot you. But selfishness must always be forgiven, you know, because there's never any hope of a cure.
It was only a little play, Lovers' Vows. We were just putting it on for a few friends. We were well into rehearsals and we'd all have gone off brilliantly when the Dowager Duchess died and our entire scheme was destroyed.
Good gracious.
I mean, it's not worth complaining about, of course. Still, the poor old lady could not have chosen a worse time. If only the news could have been suppressed for the 3 days we needed. Well, she was a grandmother after all, and she did die 100 miles off.
I'm sure you're very much to be pitied, my dear.
But all is well, ma'am, for now Mr. Bertram is to take the Baron, and I am to be Count Cassel, ma'am, and come in 3 times and have 42 speeches, which is no trifle.
Ah, Miss Crawford. Delighted.
Mr. Bertram.
What do you say, Edmund? Small, dark, and bright. We have our Amelia.
I'm engaged and dismissed in one breath.
It's been a great while since I trod the boards. Today, I feel as if I could be anything and everything.
I am of some use, I hope, in preventing any unnecessary expense. Come, Fanny. It is a shocking trick for a young person to always be lolling upon a sofa. You really must learn to think of other people. I'll never have these curtains finished in time for the performance.
You're not seriously putting on the play here.
Well, certainly we are. Why not? Look, it's a slight piece, I know, but... do you think this is too modern? Where's Mr. Crawford? I want his opinion.
For one thing, we know Father's on a return journey now and in constant danger. For another,
Yes. And if we can keep my mother's spirits up, I shall think our time well spent. It's a very anxious time for her.
What is it? What? I was not asleep.
For another, you have asked Maria to play the mother of an illegitimate child.
Oh, do not act in anything improper, my dear. Sir Thomas would not like it.
You know Father wouldn't like his grown-up daughters to be acting.
I know my father as well as you do. I'd imagine no one in this house can see or judge but you.
Perhaps Edmund doesn't realize how much I'm relying on him.
You see, I'm to be Amelia, but there's no one for Anhalt, my tutor. If anyone should play it, it's you. He is a clergyman, you know.
Then I'd be sorry to make him ridiculous with bad acting.
We can manage perfectly well without you. There's no need for you to take part.
I have no intention of taking part.
Only don't expect to govern everyone else.
No doubt you will decide in time. When you do, pray let me know which of you gentlemen I have the pleasure of making love to.
You have willfully ignored my request.
No, I have leave of
I ordered
absence.
you to raise this curtain by an inch. Come down here. Come down here. Such insolence.
Sorry, Mum.
Do I have to do everything?
He who forms my mind.
That's fate.
That he who formed mine.
Do you mind not taking part, Fanny?
No. Besides, your father would not approve, and I can't afford to displease him. Do stand still, Julia.
Do I not look every inch the tyrannical father?
Fanny, I want your opinion.
Yes.
Edmund!
This acting scheme gets worse and worse. They're going to ask an outsider, a complete stranger, to play Anhalt.
And what can you do? Tom's so determined.
There's only one thing. I must play Anhalt myself. Well, can you think of an alternative?
You said nothing would induce you.
I know. Do you imagine I like being driven to be so inconsistent? It can't be right to let Tom go trawling the countryside for anyone who can be persuaded to take part, no matter who.
No, it can't.
Then give me your blessing, Fanny. If you're not with me, I mistrust my own judgment.
I do see it's not right for Miss Crawford to act with a stranger.
Right,
but-
you're right. She must be spared. Dear Fanny, I couldn't be easy until I'd spoken to you.
Are we not made for one another? Tonight I can be only one thing, Maria. Tonight I am your lover. Or I am nothing.
Do you think it's too short? Let me ask Henry.
Why, blush, dear girl, pray tell me why. You need not, I can prove it. For though your garter met my eye, my thoughts were far above it.
I say steady on there, Rushworth.
He is still acting, isn't he?
You cannot refuse me. I must at long last hold you to my heart.
Now you've made me mistake my lines, Mr. Crawford.
Well, then we must rehearse again until you choose to remember them.
Get Maria in shape, will you, Henry? Otherwise we'll never be ready.
My pleasure, sir.
Now what have you done, Fanny? If all you can do is make mischief, we're better off without you.
To see such a short, mean-looking little man set up for a fine actor is ridiculous.
Here.
Would you like me to hear you, Mr. Rushworth?
Oh, yes, if you'd be so kind. What does the Baron accuse me of? Nothing he himself is not guilty of. But I shall make short work.
No, light.
Oh!
We can't put off any longer, Miss Crawford. And really, you haven't so very much to fear. It is only me.
Perhaps we could find a private corner.
You see how it is, Miss Price? I cannot for the life of me remember it.
You have the first line perfectly, Mr. Rushworth.
But, Miss Price, I have 42 of them. When Julia speaks, I cannot recognize my cue. Miss Price?
I do not wish to blame you, yet I can hardly call it ladylike of you to visit me here alone at night.
My dear Mr. Anholt, allow me to speak my heart, to tell you that I love you, that I've loved you since first I set eyes on you.
The stage directions say, Amelia takes Anholt by the hand and looks into his face.
Ah, Fanny. Excellent. Julia won't do it. Come on. This is your big moment. You are to be the cottager's wife.
Me? No. I cannot play a part.
Yes, you can do it well enough for us.
You mustn't let us down, Fanny. When do we ever ask anything of you?
You cannot be so ungrateful as to not do your cousin's wish.
Yes, do help us out, Fanny.
You'll soon get the hang of it, Miss Price. Now, we'll try the moment when you interrupt my scene with Agatha. And you'll find us very well rehearsed. We've been hard at it, practicing by ourselves.
You imagine, sir, I can be shamed into a confession. Yours is a vain conceit. Your accusations are enough to make my blood boil. When you arrived, sir, we were going through the first 3 acts. Not unsuccessfully upon the whole.
How dare Henry go like that, laughing, and not a word to me?
My dear girl, a man like Henry isn't so easily roped.
Don't suppose I was the one doing the chasing.
We had hoped, sir, to beg your indulgence. As inexperienced players.
My indulgence shall be given, Tom, but without the play acting. Do you find Mr. and Miss Crawford agreeable acquaintances?
Indeed. Mr. Crawford is very pleasant, and Miss Crawford is a lively, pretty girl.
I do not say he's not a gentleman, considering. But, as your father cannot fail to have noticed, he's too short to be considered a well-looking man.
But Father, you've not told us